Sometimes in life, a lesson takes a few years to learn. In fact, I have found that many of my greatest lessons needed to be hammered into me 1 million times before I actually got the nail of it. Megan was one of the coolest friends I ever had. We were two big nerds in the city, and she tapped into a part of me that, in truth, was all of me, my inner outcast. Part of why I always was a floater or a person of multiple friendship groups was because, yes, I like to know a lot of people, and I really do feel each group brings out a certain part of me. I have the energy of 10,000 suns. Yet there's a sadder reason. When you grow up with a father that is consistently and constantly berating you and acting like everything you do is somehow an inconvenience to not only his humanity, but all of humanity, you feel like you can never stay too long with one person until they realize that you're a burden. I like being able to jump from one group to another and always remain light and entertaining to them because if I stayed, I got nervous that, like my dad, they would want me away and have no problems yelling at me. Still, Megan wanted me to stay, and I did. And it was really frickin' nice. As you've seen in prior episodes, I'm trying to recuperate from my tendency of introducing everybody I know to everybody I know. Especially because I don't have the best assessment of character yet. I'm still trying to accept that my intuition is spot on, which means I do not have to join everyone when they think if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, we should call it chicken. One of the reasons I'm trying to end that tendency is because it is what inadvertently made me lose Megan. We had gone to dinner, and I had introduced her to my friends at the time. In perspective, they were not my friends. They were the people I called when I wanted to go clubbing. But again, we are trying to heal that I have low standards. We were drinking and laughing, and somehow the conversation led to middle names. For some reason, nobody at that table knew that I had a middle name. I was surrounded by personalities that knew how to go big or go home, but I could not even tell you a single address amongst them. Suddenly, Megan said my middle name, Nicole, and even explained how it was the name my father chose for me. But he really wanted it to be my first name because he used N names for all his daughters and J for all his sons, unless the mother said no, of which mine was one that did. She not only knew my middle name, but its origins, to which one of the guys at the table, Luis, made fun of her, like, oh. I did that weird stop it giggle and turned to Megan to see that she had not simply become disappointed in the situation, but kind of uninterested in me. We had been an entire year being the silliest of people, only for me to reveal that I wasn't a serious person. I had introduced her to people that knew nothing about me and presented her as if they were her equals, especially in terms of how I define friendship and the love I receive. Megan was not into it because she at the time was taking this journey of which I am now, of curating her life and accepting no one's BS, even if they enjoy twerking at Dixie Chicks or going on random adventures like glass blowing. She wanted adventures with people that knew her middle name, and I was still in a place of feeling comfortable in my invisibility. All right, let's heal. Let's discuss. So we were, I don't know, I do have the tendency, and I don't know if that's good or bad. I think it really just depends on the person. I have always attached really quickly and really bigly, God, Donald Trump word, with people, especially because when I fall in love with a person, I I just dive in because I really want to have the experience of love, and I don't ever feel, or I have never felt like I fully experienced love because I had to kind of invent it with, in terms of my father and a lot of the toxic family members in my family. Just like, yeah, I don't see the bad you're doing, I don't hear the bad that you're doing, I don't, I had to go in blind, deaf, and dumb to love these people. And I even had to hate myself to love them more. So I subconsciously, and not totally subconsciously, always was looking for really big, powerful relationships that just ignited me. and people that made me feel not only safe, but like they could save me for once because I was saving everybody's ass. And what I liked about Megan was I think it's something that I mentioned with Kyle. She was just really lighthearted and really fun and had this level of depth to her at the same time. Like we could laugh, we could talk about everything. We never really fought. We never fought. We had, debates, but I don't even want to say it like that. It was just so easy. And I don't only want to talk about the relationships that were impactful because they were uneasy. I want to talk about the ones that were impactful because they were easy. And the irony of how I kind of let them go or just, you know, what does that say? God's rejection, what a man's rejection is God's protection. I do feel like God took out a lot of bad people from my life. But what hurts me is that he also removed me from other people's lives. He made sure I wasn't the person they needed or wanted or the best person for them. So we went out and I introduced her. I was like, oh my God, you're going to love my friends. They're the funnest people ever. And we obviously know I have a tendency of introducing everybody to everybody, only to realize they either A, don't like each other, B, they like each other more than they like me, so then I get isolated, or C, I I do attract people, especially in terms of men, that like to use me because I go to parties and I introduce myself and I laugh with everybody. And men like to use me so that I get them contacts, right? I introduce them to the person that might level them up socially, and it's something that I'm starting to pick up on. And but at the time, I was like, everybody meet everybody because everybody knows me. I introduced Megan and we sat down and we laughed, but I don't know, it's so crazy. Sometimes I don't know, maybe it's a memory thing. You remember a moment for its impact, but you don't necessarily remember the moment that led to it. And we were just talking about middle names and nobody knew it. And then Megan obviously the story. Her middle name's Nicole, and said why. And she said it really casually and sweetly. And Luis was like, oh, like did the kind of like that, like making fun of her for knowing so much about me. And I did like, okay, stop. Okay, that's that. And it's something that I mentioned before in an episode where I forgot to message Yali for her birthday and it really hurt her. I have always been the friend to people that forget me, to people that don't text me back, to people that don't remember my birthday, to people that, and the weird thing is, all of my old friendships fit this dynamic of I don't text you, I don't call you. When we see each other, it's like fitting an old glove, but I don't really look for you. I don't know when your birthday is. Don't expect a Merry Christmas. And yet if I actually cut off the friendship, they call me. And it's something that my dad would did a lot throughout my childhood of when I the abuse would get really bad, I would try to cut him off and I would say, "Mommy, take this man out of my life." And then suddenly he would calm down and he would try to be nice and he would call me for a few days. And then it would go back to the old dynamic. And I just got used to that kind of chase, chase, chase. And then when I say I'm stopping the chase, they chase me for like 3 weeks and I'm back in chaser mode. And there was something about the moment that just really kind of made her like, ugh, oh, you're that person. And at the time, she was going through the journey I'm going through of kind of, and you could see it in the episode Shamira, of just not letting red flags go so easily and learning the difference between a red flag you should respect versus people are different personalities. You don't have to always be paranoid and think they're going to betray you. You do have to have a little bit of understanding and compromise and just find the people that are worth those aspects of you. Because somebody has to compromise in handling you too. And she was just going through this journey. And I think at the time, in my perspective, I think she just saw I was too aloof. I was too all about the good time. And not even like a crazy club way, just in a way of like no depth. And I did feel I had a deep friendship with her, but I don't know how to explain it because I know I have felt that too. And again, the Shamir episode is such a perfect example of these moments where you're like, maybe I'm not with the right person for me. Maybe I'm looking for something bigger with somebody who's just small. And I I feel like she was offering me a genuine relationship, a deeper relationship. And I was still running in I'm so comfortable being invisible and fun with people that don't even know my last name, let alone my middle, my last. And you meet these people and you hang out with them, and yet everything is just so shallow, so superficial. And she faded. We hung out a few times after that, and she just faded. She ended up moving. She has a great life, she has a great partner. We talk on occasion, but I really do pinpoint that. And maybe it's one of those things where I'm making a big deal out of something that wasn't, but it was a moment. And it was a moment that turned her off. And I think now that I'm looking for more serious relationships in all ways, friendship, love, career, I am noticing that tendency in me. And I'm noticing that there's the acquaintances and then there's the real friends. And when you introduce them to each other as equals, you're almost disrespecting and devaluing somebody who's really giving you something true versus, you know, false. Oh, let's just dance and sing and make jokes. And you can make jokes with anyone, but there's a certain kind of depth that I can't explain unless you've had a true friend. So check out daddyrecovery.com, check out DeAndreReviews.all.com, check out Hardin and all music platforms. Thanks for the love.